Hello, my mate.
Hi, I like your accent.
I see you've done a small bit of research about Britain.
Yeah, that's accurate.
You did mention that you, America, kicked Britain's butt during the Revolution War.
Yeah, on account of the lack of the pictures of queens on our money and the fact that we have to spend this money on our health care would lead me to that assumption.
We didn't lose the war with America.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I heard the story was like we were like part of Britain, and then Britain's like, hey, we got some new taxes, and we're like, tax D's nuts, we're not going to be part of Britain anymore, and then we went to war, and after the war, we weren't part of Britain anymore, which would lead me to believe that, you know, you lost the war. But I've been wrong before.
We just chose not to have it. We retreated because other things were far more important at the time. Have a look at that before we start getting all Billy big bollocks on it.
That's what we're going with here? Okay.
We don't really learn much in school about the American Civil War because it's just not important to us.
Wait, what? I thought we were talking about the Revolution. However, the American Civil War was kind of important to you guys too, considering, you know, you were funding the Confederacy, presumably because you were still salty about losing the Revolution and the War of 1812.
But yeah, have a look. Have a look at what was going on in Britain at the same time. You'll be very interested in that and realise there are many more factors to take into account that you're just not taking into account before you do your boasting and your big dick waving. You didn't win anything.
Man, the Cope took a little blue pill for this one because it is hard. So does Germany get to say that Britain didn't win either of the world wars? They just decided not to have the war anymore because there was too many other wars going on at the same time. Salty Brits repeated this same sentiment a ton in the comments of that video. It's funny because the whole video was just me saying we probably would have actually been better off had we not won the revolution, but suggesting that we did kick your guys' ass in the revolution was enough to set y'all off. The wars ended one of three ways: a win, a loss, or a stalemate. And the fact that the war started with the British occupying British land and then it ended with the British leaving land that was no longer British, that would kind of insinuate that the people who lost the land that they used to own would be the losers, and the people who kept the land that you used to own would be the winners. Generally kind of how wars worked back then. And yes, I am well aware Britain had a lot of other wars going on at the time. It was really a world war, and we were one front of that war. But y'all being stretched too thin to win our war sounds like a you problem, you know, maybe some bad time in resource management, because y'all knew the colonies were getting feisty with your bullshit for a while, and instead of placating us because you had other shit going on, you chose violence, and we're America, so we also chose violence. It's what we do. And if y'all didn't care and the war wasn't that important to you, why'd you stick around fighting it for 8 years? And what is it that Cornwall did with his big British army at Yorktown? Wasn't it that he surrendered? I feel like he surrendered. Isn't surrender a synonym for losing? And 250 years later, it ain't that big of a deal to you, but y'all are still out here like, we didn't lose. The sun was in our eyes. We started the war on an empty stomach and we had low blood sugar. And we didn't surrender. We were just, our mom called us home for dinner and we weren't allowed to keep playing the war anymore. But we totally would have had you if we wanted to. The cherry on top of this whole thing for me was that you're like, we don't even learn much about the American Revolution because it's not that important to us, which immediately followed you telling us that we need to go learn the history about what was going on in the world outside of our own history. So yeah, that's just kind of funny. Just a little bit, right? Like, you get that. And guys, lighten up about it. So what? You lost the war. The joke still ended up being on us. You guys could be like, yeah, we lost the colonies, but you know, at least we don't have to hire a bankruptcy lawyer because we went to college or the doctor. See, we won the war. It's really not up for debate. We get to be big Billy Bollocks about that. But karma's a bitch, and you know, the T-tax, in retrospect, it doesn't seem so bad now. And you guys have that. That's really the last laugh. And just be happy with that, man. Believe me, we would.